This is an article which is accused us, a famous article on page 3. They listed us terrorists. Usually, when you listed in this newspaper, especially on the famous page 3, you are going to be prison. So this makes me to flee my country because I realized that I'm going to jail. When you listed in this newspaper, especially on the famous page 3, you are going to be prison. And this is a government newspaper, a famous article on page 3.
Journalists are getting arrested for expressing their opinion, for doing their job. Several laws are working against the journalists. For example, we can mention the anti-terrorism law, which is totally used, to detain independent voices in Ethiopia.
ጋዜጣችን በሳምንት ሁለቴ ነው የሚወጣው ከሚወጣው ዘገባ በኋላ የስልክ ማስፈራሪያዎች አሉ በመኪናም ክትትሎች ይደረጋሉ
ሲደርሱኝ የነበሩት ቴክስቶች ምንድናቸው ዛቻ ማስፈራሪያ ነው አሁን ከምሰራው ስራ እንድታቀብ ነው ያው ያስታውቃል ኬት ሜሴጅ ኬት እንደሚመጣ ይታወቃል የመንግስት ሰዎች ናቸው ያው የደህንነት ሰው እንደሆነ ያስታውቃል ዓለም በጨቋኝነቱ አቻ የማገኝለት የሚዲያ ምህዳር ይላል እንግዲህ ይሄ ጽሁፍ ትርጉም ነው የተሰራው
We were beaten, we were harassed, they warned us if we didn't stop our duty in the newspaper, in the magazines or in the websites, they will kill us and they warned me to kill my wife, my children also. So print this newspaper so
Basically, Zone 9 is a group of blogger activists focusing on rights, civil liberties and political rights. The accusation was trying to destabilize the government, inciting violence and unconstitutionally, attempt to unconstitutionally change the government. On the third hearings, they changed this accusation to terrorism. It makes me feel like, okay, anything can be a crime there. And so the letter is like, we mentioned that people who used to say hi to you, used to communicate with you like freely, Like they will just say like they established this kind of.
Is Twitter used quite a bit still by Zone 9?
Yeah.
እነዚህ እንግዲህ መጽሔት መዘጋታቸው ወይም እነዚህ ሚዲያ ተቋማት መዘጋታቸው ያው ህዝቡ ከመንግስት ሚዲያ ውጭ ምንም አይነት ነገር እንዳይሰማ ነው የሚደረገው እንግዲህ የመንግስት ሚዲያ ይታወቃል ስለምን ሊያወራ እንደሚችል ጠንከር ብሎ ገቨርንመንት ያለውን አስተዳደር ሊተች እንደማይችል ይታወቃል
The Ethiopian government is afraid of mainly the young generation is arising now. They are coming to the awakening of political matters. So the government is afraid of this generation.
How the courts are really reacting and no one was sent free.
ጋዜጠኝነትም ሆነ ጋዜጣ መስራት የማይቻልበት ሀገር ስለሆነ ነው ሁሉም እየተሰደደ የሚወጣው ሀገር ይለቀቀ በመውጣቴ በጣም ነው ማዝነው በጣም አሁን እኔ ሀገር የለኝም ቤተሰቦቼ ናፍቆኛል ምንም ማድረግ አንችልም በጣም ነው ማዝነው በጣም
Currently in Ethiopia there are almost 20 journalists that are in prison and there are dozens and dozens that are exiled in neighboring countries. Ethiopia has elections scheduled for May of 2015. In a previous election, it was a similar pattern where there was an extensive crackdown against independent voices and against independent media. So what we're seeing now is part of a pattern leading up to the election where government is cracking down on dissent of any type. Many journalists self-censor their writings after facing this harassment. For many that choose not to, there's a continual escalation in the threats that they receive from government. The journalists that have been charged under these different laws are not working with terrorist organizations. They are not terrorists. They are simply journalists trying to do what journalists around the world do, which is get critical information into the hands of the citizens. It should immediately release all jailed journalists and bloggers, and it should ensure that the media space opens up ahead of the 2015 elections.